So we finished round 5 of the Blancpain Sprint Series season, and the winner of the race, Robin Freins and Laurens Vanthoor. Now, Robin's gone missing because we've only got Laurens for this little interview, but congratulations, another victory and a big lead now at the top of the championship.
A very important victory, actually, I think, because with 3 races remaining before this weekend, we thought that this would be the most difficult one, and where Bentley would be the strongest. And that actually was also, I think, the case. So to be able to win here and they finishing 4th, taking a lot of points, is something really important for the championship.
And how did you? Do you think you would have won that race if you hadn't had the safety car deployed?
Honestly, rather no. It would be very difficult, maybe. Difficult to say. Obviously, you never know what happens, but it would be a lot more difficult than without the safety car.
Where do you think the strengths of your car are here against the strengths of the Bentley? Which part of the track were you strong? Which part of the track was the Bentley strong?
I think we were particularly strong in sector 2 and 3. There's one place where we obviously always lose compared to a lot of other brands, is the straight, because simply we just have more downforce. That's it's the DNA of the car. We cannot change that, and when we're driving alone, it's good. Like you saw yesterday, if we're behind the Bentley, it's very difficult to overtake him unless he makes a mistake. The Bentley is strong on the straight, has good downforce as well. It's a big car. That's another thing. Like yesterday, if you touch him, we break something and they look unharmed. But I think it's an interesting fight.
The other thing that was notable, I thought, was that both the rolling starts was you had an Audi and a Bentley on the front row of the grid. From the rolling start, it was the torque of the Bentley, that low-down turbocharged grunt seemed to give it a significant advantage on the run, and it's quite a short run from the lights going out into turn 1.
Yeah, it's impossible to beat it on the start. We were actually thinking of various things to do to already keep our second position, because the Ferrari was behind us as well. And Robin got a tremendous reaction and a good start, and he was in front of the Bentley, but you could see it's no chance it comes back and passes us back. So that it makes life for us a bit more difficult, but in the end we have other strong points, and each one has its pros and cons.
Interestingly, it makes it difficult for you, but it's great for us in the commentary booth, because we've got a motor race. We don't want to see domination, we want to see fighting and battles going on, clean battles going on. One moment in the race that was sort of very unusual was when we had the safety car intervention, because a part of the circuit, a metal grill, which isn't part of the drainage of the circuit, became dislodged. Were you aware of the cause of the safety car, or did you just accept it for what it was? And because you weren't in the car at the time, you were taking the car over from Robin.
Well, it may sound like something stupid in the end to get a safety car and to change the way a race will evolve, but in the end it's like this, and it's racing.
Same for everybody.
This time it was in our advantage. For sure, I can imagine. I think it was a hole of 20 by 8 centimeters. It could be dangerous. So yeah, I agree. It should be fixed. This time was an advantage. Maybe another time it will be a disadvantage. But same for everybody, like you say.
So how confident are you then going into the last 2 races at Misano and Zandvoort that you can wrap up the title?
I always need to be careful what I say, but I'm pretty confident, because like we've shown this year, okay, me and Robin, we tend to make some mistakes sometimes, but we work very well together. We have a very good engineer, our team's doing great at the pit stop. We have the complete package, and of course saying that I'm confident doesn't mean I'm going to lay down and wait for it to happen. We have to work very hard for the remaining 2 races and do a job like we did this weekend without mistakes, and doing the performance without taking too much risks. You never know what happens, but I'm in the mood for the fight. I'm going 100% in, and it was the goal from the beginning of the season, so I hope it works.
I don't want to be rude, but do you think you have made more mistakes this season than normal, or do you think because you're in the number 1 Audi, who everyone expects to be amazing, when you make a mistake it's more of a surprise?
No, I did make more mistakes this season. Crash from Brands Hatch, Moscow, a very important one in Spa, unfortunately. Don't really have an explanation for it. I'm kind of driver and person, no matter what I do, if there's a competition, I want to win it. And sometimes I think I tend to go over that limit in order to catch it. And the last year and beginning of this year, things were running really good, and getting a lot of positive comments from everybody, and you want to keep that, and to stay there is very difficult, because there are always new guys like Robin coming in and try to kick your ass.
So you've kicked his ass out of this interview.
No, and you try to stay on top, and yeah, for some reason I lost a bit my focus on certain things which were important, and made mistakes, which obviously in the end is still a lesson for me. And what happened in Spa is very unfortunately, and believe me, I had heard it for a couple of weeks after, and I don't think I will do that mistake again. So I'm learning as well, and yeah, I hope it doesn't happen again for the rest of the season.
Well, Laurent, let's move forward, because the next round in the Blancpain Sprint Championships in Misano in Italy now. As far as I'm aware, this is the first time the SRO organisation has run an event there. But have you raced there, first of all, in any other category of Formula 3 or other forms of motorsport? And secondly, what is WRT going to do to prepare to go into a circuit that nobody's got any information about?
We've been testing there. I never raced there before, but we had
You tested the Audi?
Yeah, we
Okay.
had a private test beginning of the year where I was there, and then the official test we had as well from Blancpain where I was not there. It's a track which is new for the championship, like you say. Unfortunately, it's a track with a lot of runoff areas, so we will see a lot of track limit messages again, which is a bit unfortunate in my opinion. But
Well, let me just ask you about this, because I have a hobby horse here about observing track limits. And here in Portimao, suddenly we're seeing a lot more notices being given to drivers for abusing track limits, having times deleted. And what's your view about track limits? Because obviously there are demarcation lines to say this is the racetrack and this is not. Are you happy with what we were seeing here this weekend, where there was a much more firm grip on issuing drivers penalties?
no, I'm not happy with it. And obviously, you come from a completely different area when you used to race. I'm from the point of view, okay, nobody should get hurt or worse, and they do these runoff areas for safety, probably. But it takes away the whole feeling of racing a car on the limit, because now it's very simple. The last corner is a pretty quick corner, and if you're on the limit, and if you go a bit too wide, oh yeah, I went over the track limits, next time I go a bit back. If there's a wall or a gravel trap, you will spin and you will hit the wall and you will damage the car and it will be an impact.
But the point is, I think, if there is a wall there, for example, in Baku, which we went to for the last 2 years, you know there's a wall there, so you don't push beyond what you might accept as the limit, because you know you can get away with it here.
Yeah.
So therefore, the de facto outcome is, if there is a wall, you don't take the risk.
Yeah, and especially if, for example, a track like, if you compare Brands Hatch with Paul Ricard, if you go to Brands Hatch, it's such an amazing track, and if you do a qualifying lap which is on the limit, you feel like
Fantastic.
the best ever, and if you go off like I did, it hurts and you damage the car. And
You mean physically hurt or mentally hurt?
mentally, physically, obviously it doesn't feel very well, but you don't get hurt. And if you do the same on Paul Ricard, you can try whatever you want, and you just go a bit wide, and you say it's like playing a PlayStation. You don't have this pure feeling of adrenaline, and that's a bit of a shame, I think.
Well, let me put the question another way. Would you rather have raced in the era that I raced in, where there were very much more obvious dangers and the penalties were very much greater, or race in the current era where you've got all this freedom and run-off area?
Well, I think I saw a documentary where you were involved.
Yeah.
I think your area was probably was quite extreme back then. Maybe a bit later than that, but I would like to, yeah. The danger is why we love to race cars quick. I think because we get the adrenaline, and that's the kick most of us want, and you take it away by having runoff areas. And yeah, I would I wouldn't mind going 10, 15 years back.
I think you could go a bit further than 10 or 15 in my case.
Yeah, exactly. But that would have just been another driver for you to overtake, John, if Lawrence had been racing
Well,
with you.
you know, some skills you still have, you don't lose them, do you?
No, as we found out on the way in this morning. So thank you very much to Lawrence Vanthoor for joining us, the winner of round 5 of the Blancpain Sprint Series. After that rather in-depth interview, actually, it was quite interesting. We will be next up the first weekend of October, 4th and 5th weekend of October at Misano. Make sure you join us for that.